Let's talk about spaceships, y'all. Every month we look at the monthly report, what was going on in Star Citizen the previous month. And every month, because the ship stuff has become such a big thing this year, we are breaking out the ships specifically to cover them as their own section. So if you missed the monthly report, that's already on the channel. You can go and check that out. It was pretty good. Talked about things like dynamic server meshing, AI improvements, and some of the new mission and mission giver and content stuff coming up in the next couple of updates. But today, let me pull up this our handy dandy ship tracking spreadsheet, and we will be taking a look at what is changing once again. So to start us off, in the UK, the Anvil Paladin continued through Greybox, with additional artists being moved onto it as their other tasks were completed to help prepare for its July gate review. Okay, so it's getting a July gate review in Greybox, and that's actually okay. I had thought that the Paladin had moved to a 2026 possibility. Where do we have it here? I guess I hadn't actually thought that. You can see that I've got it listed as Q4 2025. It was in the Greybox last time we checked in on it. Here it is. And that last time we checked was May 2025. So it is continuing through the Greybox, going to hit its July review, which means if it does pass that gate review, it will move on to LOD 0. After that, it will hit final art, and then we should start expecting its release sometime soon. So I think it is still pretty on track for the end of this year. So I'm going to leave that there and say that our most recent update on this was June 1st, baby. Pre-production began on the Gattac Raylan. Brother! I can't just be me. It can't just be me. Yes. Hey. Kumbaya, dude. All right. The Gattac Raylan is finally on the monthly report. If you're wondering why I'm so cheerful about this ship. Hold on. Check this out. Invictus. Sorry, I can't spell, can't read. Let's just search for that. Star Citizen Live Invictus and see if I can find this one. Here we go.
Polaris.
Check this out. This is May 26, 2023.
Mentally go around the floor. Santok guy as well.
Pretty in production with the LA
Well
ship folks.
into
It's looking good. That stuff you saw at the end, that was not concept art, that was the actual white box and well into gray box stuff. It's looking great so far.
They're doing the Santok guy as well.
We'll be up.
Montreal working on some very
Pretty sure that's all of them.
Retaliator stuff we're doing, we talked about before.
It's somewhere in here, guys. I'm going to find it.
It's, again, some of the things that missed through. It's like, in case you guys in the segment, it's a promotion. Actual white box
guy as well.
We can
Retaliator stuff we're doing. Caveat, things can always change.
Here we go.
Polaris, Apollo, G12, Raylan.
So you hear the Apollo and the Raylan in there. We're going to talk about the Apollo in a bit, but the Raylan was talked about multiple times and expected to be worked on after the Santok Yai. But then after the Santok Yai, instead of doing the Raylan, they did the Siulin. So then the Siulin was going to be done. And then we were like, okay, well, the Merchantman's not being done, so after the Siulin, the Raylan? But then we didn't get the Raylan either. Instead, we started getting some Mirai ships, which I don't think means that they couldn't do the Raylan. It just, that was the closest thing to an alien ship we were getting at that point. And then now, the latest alien ship we got was the Asperia Prowler utility. So, the Raylan has been wanted and desired for a long time. It is an alien cargo hauler with very unique cargo pods that I can't say for sure they're going to stick with, considering how does it work with the rest of the cargo system. They're like triangular weirdos. As you can see, though, it's a little bit larger than the Caterpillar. It's around that size, very tall in its design, as Xi'an ships are. It's made partially for, like, it, dude, I mean, the design language of Xi'an stuff is just absolutely gorgeous. The interior of this ship is one of the most beautiful things in any ship in this game. I'm genuinely in love with the Gattac design language. I don't like it in the Siulen, but I do like it here. So I hope that they kind of stick to this with the larger ships in mind. Very interested in seeing what they do with this ship. Like I said, it's a weird one. It's a cargo hauler with weird shaped pods. It's got a lot of hover tech and alien design language. So it's not going to be an easy one to put out. It's probably going to take a little while. So we'll keep that in mind as we put it down here for the first time. First time addition to the spreadsheet. The Gattac Raylan, a new model, a cargo hauler, and what did they say they were doing with it? Pre-production began on the Gattac Raylan, which will continue between other tasks ahead of the ship officially entering production later this year. Okay, so it is still not like fully in production. It is just getting some little bits of work here and there when they probably have the time to put on it. So sounds like we need a new category called pre-production. And this one will be yellow. We'll put it right before white box, after concept. And that's you. Expected release. I don't expect this until 2026. I'm not going to narrow it down further than that. Alien cargo hauler with weirdly shaped butt cargo pods. Also, beautiful design language. Confidence on this in 2026? I'm going to say low. I don't care if it's going into pre-production right now. They dropped the ball on the Raylan a lot. So we'll see where it goes. Some of the team moved on to the Drake Ironclad, with some areas receiving layout alterations to improve traversal alongside refinement to the modular Drake kit. Sorry, that's going to call for at least one air horn. God, it's so loud. That's a big one. The Ironclad is a big one. As you can see, it's the only one here that's labeled in green. I'm not sure why. Probably just because the Lord demands it. Large boy, it's in white box. Last time we heard of it, they're still saying it's in white box, it looks like. Our expected release, I still have it at IAE 2025. I don't think so. If it's still in white box in July or in June, Ironclad might be a next year kind of thing. My confidence level on this has gone down. I'm going to call this medium low confidence at this point because they're cutting it close there. White box, oof. June, man, our last update on this was in November of 24, really? Okay. I mean, honestly, that means that they probably put it down for a while. If the last update was November 24, it was in white box, and it's still in white box right now. It's possible I did miss some mention. Drake Ironclad was mentioned in May 2025. After a short pause to help close out Invictus Week, work resumed on the Ironclad with a focus on blocking out every room with the appropriate Drake kits. Huh. How did I miss that? If you want to know what the Ironclad looks like, because it is a very beloved ship, people freaking adore this ship. I'll give you a quick look.
Has seats for the crew, plus a few little jump seats for everyone else. Command module is there to steer the ship when it's attached, and the command module serves as the escape pod as well. The only time you really want to detach it is in an emergency. It's not designed to be your sort of primary ship flying around.
It kind of gives you a little bit of a
cockpit.
get out jail free card. If you're transporting stuff that is quite valuable, quite sought after in maybe some of our less desirable systems, what it allows you to do is kind of have a little bit of security. So if you're getting attacked or you're getting yourself into trouble.
You can see there was a lot of modeling done back then in the concept.
And then you're into the main cargo hold of the ship, and this takes up the majority of the interior space, is this large cargo hold. One of the things that we were kind of really keen to do was give lots of different views and different angles down into this cargo hold. Again, as we're exploring slightly less lawful systems, we wanted to give the players as much opportunities as we can to kind of be safe aboard their own ship. So either side of the cargo hold, we've got these gantries that run completely front to rear on the ship, and they give great view down into your cargo bay. They also give that opportunity of if there's someone tries to board you via the cargo bay, it gives you some nice cover opportunities. And we've also got a few little windows that kind of look down into it as well.
It's a cool ship. It's a beautiful ship. For
Drake
its
Ironclad
ugliness.
is a 6-person multi-crew armored freighter. A large proportion of the ship is dedicated.
It looks like it's going to be amazing for like org gameplay and operations and missions and stuff. Just getting real into the industrial gameplay of this game that will come someday, which is something that excites a lot of people. So this is a very sought after ship. It's a very anticipated ship. And I'm sure plenty of people will be happy to know that the work continues on the layout. Elsewhere, work progressed on 5, count them, 5 unannounced vehicles. Okay. How many do we have listed here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unannounced vehicles already listed. So any of these could be any of these, or we could be adding some new ones here. Let's see. 2 completed their white box phase and are now well into gray box with focus on details around the hull. Okay. So 2 completed white box and went into gray box. There's literally no way we could know if it's any of these 3 that were in white box, or if it's any of the ones that were in white box that I chose to change to gray box just because I saw something mentioned in a monthly report. These unannounced ships are complete wild cards. We could be entirely off on these, but we'll let's look at what they were saying here. So we have this white box one, which is progressing towards full production in April, progressing towards white box review in May. So this is probably gone into gray box. If they were going to white box review in May, I would assume this is one of the ones that has moved on. So completed white box, went into gray box, focusing on the detail around the hull. Let's go ahead and call this one in gray box and say went into gray box with detail on the hull in June 2025, and update this to say that we were updated on July 3rd. Confidence on it, still fairly low. It is unannounced. How could I know? All right, the other unannounced ship was also in white box, so it's one of these 2. White box review was in early April, considerable attention to white box in May, and this one entered official production in May. I say this one was further ahead with the white box review in April, so let's assume that this one also progressed to gray box. Assumptions are dangerous, but we live on them here. We'll also say progressed to gray box with attention to detail on the hull in June 2025. And the last update on this one was today. Again, with the low confidence. Okay. Another is in the final stages of production and is receiving the finishing touches and bug fixes ahead of its release. Unannounced ship. This is likely the new RSI ship that we already kind of know is the Meteor. I don't think I had that listed anywhere here. RSI Perseus, RSI Salvager, Lod 0 here. Calling it a variant to a currently popular ship. This could have been the Asperia. This had to have been the Asperia Prowler utility. Passed its Lod review in May. A variant to a currently popular ship. I don't think this would have been the Mantis, or the Meteor. I think they would have mentioned that. Following the release of the Asperia Prowler utility, yeah. See, I think this is the Asperia Prowler utility. And we will call this one released. I'm going to stick to it being a variant. Stealth. Final update. High confidence. Good job, everybody. Mission accomplished. Let's see. Variant. Gray box. Approaching gray box review in March. Didn't get mentioned again, at least according to us. See, this is the crazy part about unannounced vehicles. It's hard to know. I mean, yeah, this must be the Meteor. Or it must be the Meteor. It's not like there's another one. And if this was the Meteor, then that would explain the 5 unannounced ships rather than 6. Let's make a weird, crazy guess here and say this is the Meteor and say it is what, approaching release? Finishing touches and final fixes ahead of its release, so it's release imminent. Expected release July of 2025. Last update would be July of 2025, and our confidence is going to be, I mean, the confidence that all of this is happening to the Meteor is very high. I just don't know if this specific input that we're picking for it is the Meteor. But we'll stick with it because it makes us feel better. Another vehicle from a prominent manufacturer entered production and is currently approaching its white box review. That is a vehicle they're mentioning entering production. So we looked at this today. Officially entered production in May. So there's a new unannounced ship. There is a new unannounced, and I think it's a vehicle actually. There goes my whole it was 5 and not 6 thing. Entered full production, I think they said. Currently approaching its white box review. Yeah. Expected release. If it's a vehicle approaching white box review, I would expect this later this year. Let's say Q4. This could actually be a Q3 launch. That's a really, really fast turnaround. Last update, July 2025. First mention, July of 2025. Confidence, say medium. It's a vehicle. It's probably going to go pretty quick. A new variant also entered pre-production, which the team states may have the record for the fastest vehicle through the production pipeline. A new variant, huh? Last update was July. First mention was July, and confidence is low. Low. All right. Lots of unannounced ships going on right now. In North America, the RSI Apollo Medivac and Triage reached the Laud 0 phase, with the devs ensuring the modular medical base swap out and behave as expected. Okay. So they're going to launch the Apollo with modularity. That's good. Laud 0 is a big deal. But it was already at Laud 0. I already have it at Laud 0. Is it going into its review? Did I miss that part? The Apollo, Medivac, and Triage passed their gray box reviews with focus on ensuring the med beds. Okay, so I guess when they passed their gray box reviews, they just kind of sat there. Or they reached their Laud 0. So they must be working through Laud 0. It's still exciting. That's still pretty exciting. I would say if it's at Laud 0, then let's look for a Q4 release 2025 on this. The Apollo is a big deal. Honestly, I hope we get an Apollo variant that's less focused on medical, but I'm selfish. Continuing on, following the release of the Asperia Prowler utility, the team tackled bugs with fixes due to land in 4.2.1. The RSI Perseus approached its gray box gate review. As such, a lot of work was done to prepare anything that animates, such as the torpedo launchers for the downstream teams. Ooh, that's a big ship. Buddy, that's a big ship. New model, gray box, approaching gray box gate review in June 2025. Good for you, Perseus. This is going to be a fun ship to come across in the verse. I'm still betting on a November release. Maybe Invictus Week, but I'm thinking, maybe CitizenCon, but I'm thinking IAE. Lastly, for ships, the Drake Kraken entered pre-production, with the team identifying areas from the original concept that need further attention to bring to modern standards. Full production will begin later this year. Get out of the fucking room. This is such a hype list of ships being worked on. We're adding the Kraken to this list? I can't believe that. I'm genuinely amazed. Literally a spacecraft carrier is being put on this list and is in pre-production. When would this release? Not until the end of next year at the earliest. Q4 2026 at the absolute earliest, in my opinion. What the actual hell? The Raylan, Perseus, Ironclad, and the Kraken are all in development on this list. This is, wow. First mention, I kind of want to say first mention on the roadmap instead of first mention in general. In which case this, but I think go back here. Let's say medium. Medium confidence in the Kraken. Okay. And let me just give you guys a look at the Kraken. So the Kraken is dependent on this ship being finished. The Drake Ironclad is going to help them flesh out the Drake Kraken a lot. The Drake Kraken is basically an org. It's an aircraft kit. It's a base. This is a flying base. Trailer for it's pretty sick.
for you. Leave now, or we kill you. I might be either way.
The time has come for something new. Something to change the game. When seeking fortunes at the fringes of civilization.
See, this thing is literally, it's a base. This is gonna, not only is this gonna be great for players, okay, but this is going to probably be one of the absolute best assets that they will have for pirate gangs, because they're gonna leave these things floating out in space and we'll be able to board them, attack them, infiltrate them. Like, this is a space station for pirates that will probably host contracts and missions for all of us. So I'm really excited for this ship for a lot of different reasons.
In this age of uncertainty, it's time to take back your strength. It's time to release the Kraken.
But this was also 2018 when they concepted this. The game has changed a lot, and we have seen how ships have changed around it since then. So, as they mentioned in this monthly report, it's going to need some further detail and attention on the original concept, and I'm sure it won't look quite exactly the same, but it'll mostly look how we hope. That is a look at the ships and what's been going on with them. I really need to organize this based on last edited, if I can. I gotta figure out how to do that. Here we go. So here's everything we saw updated today. The Anvil Paladin. Anvil Paladin got updated today. The RSI Meteor, an unknown variant, an unannounced vehicle, the Asperia Prowler utility, an unannounced ship, another unannounced ship, the RSI Apollo, the RSI Perseus, just mix those, the Drake Ironclad, the Drake Kraken, and the Gatak Raylan. That is a total of 12 different things being reported on this year, or this month. We'll see where they go from here in the next update on current ships in development. Thanks for checking this out. Hope you learned something new.